I raised my adopted daughter Mara for 30 years, gave her my house and almost $1 million, and last month she and her husband Marcus quietly stole it all with forged papers. Now I've turned that same house into a high-tech nightmare that only I control. And tonight, I'm going to make them confess every lie, then erase the crime from their minds forever. Welcome to Brian's Stories. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. I read every single comment, and it helps me to know I'm not alone in this. My name is Elias Thorne. Most folks who know the name think of the man who built dragons that breathed real fire for movies, or the guy who made an entire city disappear in smoke on a soundstage in Burbank. 43 years I gave Hollywood, 43 years of turning cardboard and light into miracles that made strangers cry in the dark. I've won awards I don't display, made money I barely spent, and lived alone in a house full of echoes long before any of this nightmare started. I'm 71 now. My hair went white a long time ago, not from age, but from one sleepless year when I was 38, and my wife walked out with half my heart and all of my trust. After that, I kept to myself, worked, fixed things that were broken on screens because I couldn't fix what broke inside me. Then came Mara. She was 6 years old, tiny for her age, clutching a stuffed rabbit that had only one ear. Her parents had died in a car wreck on an icy road in Colorado. The social worker asked if I would take her, just for a little while. I said yes before I even thought about it. The moment those big brown eyes looked up at me, something in my chest cracked open and never closed again. I signed the papers the next week, became her father in every way that mattered. I gave her everything: private schools, dance lessons, trips to Paris when she turned 16. I built her a tree house with real stained glass windows. When she cried over boys, I learned how to braid hair just so I could hold her while she talked. When she married Marcus 8 years ago, I walked her down the aisle, kissed her cheek, and handed Marcus the keys to the mansion I'd already put in their names as a wedding gift. I thought I was building a family. Turns out I was only building the perfect stage for betrayal. Last month, I discovered they secretly used forged documents to take all my assets while I was hospitalized. The house, the money, everything is now in their names. Others might sue. But I won't. I turned the house into a high-tech horror movie controlled by myself. Hidden projectors, holograms, speakers emitting ghostly sounds, sensors that chill the air, floors that vibrate, all of it, only I can turn on and off. Tonight, I will scare Mara and Marcus, forcing them to confess everything. Afterward, I will erase the memory of their guilt from their minds forever. They will continue to live, still having each other, but never remembering why they once lost everything else. For me, that is the heaviest punishment, living without understanding why you deserve to be forgiven. They are upstairs now. They don't know the house has become my stage. I am deep beneath the house, in a secret room 30 feet from the cellar, which no one knows exists. Steel walls, only a small slit of a window looking out at the garden. I sit on an old chair, surrounded by dozens of humming screens and servers. From here, I control everything in the house: sounds, images, temperature, even making skin crawl or feel like a hand is gripping a throat. I've hidden microphones everywhere, cameras concealed in paintings, sensors under the carpets. The house is not haunted. It simply obeys me. I stand up, looking at the silver picture frame on the desk. A photo of Mara as a child sitting on my hip, grinning. There's a small tear on the photo that I've kept for 30 years, always telling myself it was an accident. I turn the frame over, then set it upright. I walk to the wall, open a hidden panel, checking the bundle of fiber optic cables, the main connection of the entire illusion system. Everything is ready. On the screen, I see Mara has stopped crying. She stands in the hallway, looking at the spot where the white noise just was. The temperature in the house just dropped 2 degrees. I activated the sensor. I sit back in the chair, looking at my reflection in the dark screen. and whisper, I have carried that photo for 30 years. For 30 years, I told myself the tear was just an accident. I dust the corner of the frame. Tonight, that photo will stop being torn. The panel slides shut over the glowing fiber cable, and I turn around just as the door to the secret room opens with a soft click. Damon steps in, closes it behind him, and leans against it like he needs the support. My boy is 34, tall like me, but the worry in his face makes him look 15 again. He stares at the wall of screens, showing every corner of the mansion upstairs, then at me. Dad, he says, voice low. The lawyers called again. They can file tomorrow morning. One signature, and the house, the accounts, everything comes back to you. Clean, done. Why not just do that? I sit down slowly, motion for him to take the other chair. He doesn't. He stays by the door, arms folded tight. I keep my voice steady. Because legal justice only takes back money, Damon. It puts dollars in my pocket and maybe a couple years in theirs if the judge feels generous. But it leaves the poison inside them exactly where it is. They'll hate me. They'll hate you. They'll hate each other. And 20 years from now, Mara will still tell herself she was right to do it. I won't live with that. He rubs the back of his neck, the same way he did when he was little and didn't want to tell me he broke something. So you're going to scare them instead? Ghosts and tricks? Dad, this is extreme. I let out a small laugh that has no humor in it. Extreme is discovering the little girl you carried to bed every night for 12 years grew up and forged your name so she could sell the roof over your head. Extreme is watching her smile at your hospital bed while she's emptying your accounts. I lean forward, rest my forearms on my knees. Legal justice only takes back money. My justice must take back memory. Damon's eyes flick to the monitors again. Mara is pacing the upstairs landing now, phone to her ear, probably trying Marcus for the 10th time tonight. Marcus isn't answering because I'm bouncing his calls into voicemail limbo. Memory, Damon repeats, tasting the word like it's bitter. You're going to make them forget they did it? I'm going to make them forget why they thought it was okay. When I'm finished, they'll still know they lost the house. They'll still know the money is gone. But the greed, the decision, the moment they chose to hurt me, that part will be gone. They'll wake up confused, ashamed, but they won't remember being proud of it. That's the only way the wound ever closes. He looks at me for a long time. The red standby lights paint both of us the color of old blood. Dad, there are wounds that are only healed when the perpetrator no longer recognizes themselves. He swallows hard. And what about you? When they don't remember what they did, will you still remember what you're doing to them? I don't answer right away. I just reach out and touch the silver frame on the desk, the torn photograph of baby Mara. The tear behind her back catches the light. I'll remember enough for all of us, I say. Damon finally moved closer, sinking into the chair, but his shoulders remained stiff. He nodded once slowly, as if agreeing to something he hated himself for. His eyes met mine, and I clearly saw the discomfort, the fear, and perhaps a flicker of pity not for Mara, but for me. He thought I was crossing a line there was no turning back from, but he just breathed out long and shaky and whispered, All right, Dad, tell me what you need me to do. I smiled tiredly and slid a tablet across the table toward him. On the screen was the schedule for the first real sequence tomorrow night, the birthday party hologram ending with blood on the cake. Damon stared at it, then gripped the tablet tight. Upstairs, a door slammed. Mara had dropped her phone. Her footsteps went down the hall, fast, angry, scared. The microphones caught every sound. Damon's eyes flicked to the ceiling, then back to me, the discomfort still sharp and bright. The dining room smells of roast lamb and betrayal. Crystal glasses catch the chandelier light like knives. Mara sits at my right, same chair she's had since she was tall enough to reach the table. Marcus opposite me, tie perfect, smile practiced. Damon stands behind me, quiet, tablet in hand. I asked for this family dinner because I wanted them to hear it from me first. I wanted to watch their faces when the curtain went up. I lift my glass, let the red wine tremble just enough to look like age instead of rage. To 30 years of family, I say. Everyone drinks, even me. Damon taps the tablet once. A white square appears on the far wall, then blooms into a bank transfer record dated 4 months ago. $950,000 from my investment account into an offshore shell company. Next slide, the forged power of attorney with my signature. Next, the new deed that lists only Mara and Marcus Thorne as owners of this house. The room is so quiet I can hear the projector fan. Mara's fork clatters against her plate. Marcus leans back on arms folded, face calm like he rehearsed this. I let the silence stretch until it hurts. Then I speak, soft, broken. I trusted you with everything I had left in this world. Mara's eyes fill instantly. She's always been a good actress. Dad, it's not... We were going to tell you. It was only temporary. Damon swipes again. The altered will appears, my original one shredded in a trash bag, the new one leaving everything to them. Date on the shredder receipt, the day I was in surgery. Mara stands so fast her chair topples. This is insane. You're sick. You're paranoid. She grabs her purse, fingers shaking, and a small black USB stick falls out, rolls across the tablecloth, stops right in front of me. She doesn't even notice. She's already running toward the front door. Marcus starts to rise. I look at him and let my voice crack wide open. Real tears this time, because some of this still cuts. You ruined my daughter, I whisper. You turned her into someone who could do this to the man who gave her a name. Marcus freezes halfway out of his seat. Something flashes across his face, too fast to name, then it's gone. His hand drops to his side and I see it. He's squeezing his fist so hard the nails dig half moons into his palm. Damon steps forward, voice gentle. Maybe you two should leave. Marcus finally moves. He straightens his cuffs, walks out without a word. The front door slams. Tires scream on gravel 30 seconds later. I stay seated, head bowed, shoulders shaking like the grief is eating me alive. Damon puts a hand on my back, plays his part perfectly. I reach for my napkin, dab my eyes, and while my face is hidden, I look straight at him and give the smallest wink. Just a flicker, gone before anyone could catch it. Damon's fingers tighten on my shoulder for half a second. Answer received. I pick up the USB Mara left behind, turn it over in my palm like it's burning hot. My voice comes out cracked and old. She forgot this. Damon nods, face full of concern for anyone watching. I'll put it somewhere safe. We wait until the sound of the car is completely gone. Then, I let the tears stop like flipping a switch. I stand, stretch my back, and look around the dining room that used to be mine, and now legally isn't. Lock the gates, I tell Damon, and turn the system on standby. Tomorrow they come back for their things, and that's when the real show starts. He hesitates. You sure about this, Dad? I smile, small and tired. I've never been more sure of anything. I walk to the big window overlooking the drive. Headlights disappear down the hill. Marcus is driving too fast, one hand probably still bleeding on the steering wheel, the other clenched around secrets he thinks I don't know yet. I touch the cool glass and whisper to the dark, run all you want, the house remembers. Behind me, Damon pockets the USB. Everything is going exactly to plan. Mara and Marcus pull up in their black Range Rover at 8:30 sharp, thinking they're coming to collect clothes and paperwork before the lawyers get involved. Instead, a sheriff's deputy is already waiting at the gate with a clipboard. I watch it all on the kitchen monitor while I sip coffee. Damon stands beside me, arms crossed, face blank. The deputy hands Marcus a thick envelope. Marcus tears it open right there on the driveway. I zoom the camera in. His lips move as he reads, temporary restraining order. Elias Michael Thorne, no closer than 500 feet to the residence, immediate effect. Mara snatches the pages, face going white, then red, white again. She screams something at the deputy. He just points to the badge and walks away. They sit in the car for 20 full minutes. I let them cook. Then their phones start lighting up. I'd queued the rumor at 3 a.m. through 6 different anonymous accounts. Prayers for Marcus Thorne, heard from a reliable source he's been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic. Only months left. By 9, it's everywhere. Country club group chats, the women's charity WhatsApp, even the alumni page from Marcus's prep school. Sympathy bouquets start arriving at their rental condo before lunch. I watch Mara read the first message aloud in the car. Her voice cracks through the hidden dashcam I installed when they bought the Rover last year. This is insane. Who would say that? Marcus doesn't answer. He just stares at the screen, thumb scrolling. At 11:17, their lawyer calls. I've patched the mansion phone system so every call routes through my control room first. I let it ring twice, then pick up on speaker so Damon can hear. Marcus, the restraining order is ironclad, Carter says, flustered. And this cancer rumor is making things worse. Someone traced the original post to an IP registered to Thorn Visual Effects, Elias's old company. He's claiming it's identity theft, but it looks bad. You two need to stay far away from that house. Marcus finally speaks, voice flat. Understood. He hangs up. The camera in the sun visor catches his face perfectly. Pale, tight, and then the corner of his mouth lifts in a slow, ghastly smile that has nothing to do with happiness. It's recognition. It's almost relief, like a chess player who just saw the first move of a game he's been waiting years to play. Mara doesn't notice. She's crying again, mascara running, pounding the dashboard with her fist. He's doing this to us. He's punishing us. Marcus keeps smiling that thin, private smile and starts the engine. Back in the control room, I lean back and let out a long breath. Damon looks at me sideways. They're rattled, he says. They're supposed to be, I answer. But Marcus, he's not rattled the same way. He's calculating. Damon frowns. You think he knows it came from you? He suspects. And that smile means he's already planning his counter move. I pull up the raw data log. The rumor post originated from a dormant server farm I still own under the old company name. The IP is clean, untraceable to this house, but it's deliberately sloppy enough for a good forensic guy to follow the breadcrumbs straight to Thorn Visual Effects. I wanted them to find it. I wanted them to know I'm not hiding. Damon watches the frozen frame of Marcus's smile. He looks happy about it. He looked relieved, I correct, like someone just proved the rules of the game he thought he was playing alone. I close the window and open another. A live feed of the condo they're renting downtown. They've just pulled into the garage. Mara storms out first. Marcus follows slower, phone to his ear, that same ghost of a smile still clinging to his mouth. Damon asks the question I've been waiting for. What happens when they realize the cancer was only the opening act? I reach over and kill the lights in the control room so only the monitors glow. On every screen, the mansion sits quiet and golden in the afternoon sun, waiting. They'll come back, I say. They always do. And when they step through that gate again, the real performance starts. I glance at the clock. 48 hours until the first hologram sequence is scheduled to run. 48 hours until the walls remember every secret they ever buried. Ava Rossi arrives at dusk, black hoodie up, backpack full of encrypted drives. She's 38, sharp as broken glass, and the only person alive who can make my system sing in ways even I never imagined. We built half the Marvel multiverse together before she went freelance. I trust her because she's seen me cry on set and never sold the footage. She drops into the second chair, spins once, and looks at the wall of screens. Jesus, Elias, you really did it. The whole house is a weapon now. We run diagnostics. Haptics at 98%. Projectors aligned, audio bone conduction loops tested, everything green. Then she turns to me, eyes steady. We are creating a nightmare, Elias. Not a prank, not a lesson, a nightmare. Are you sure she'll still be sane enough to confess when it's over? The question hangs between us like smoke. I've asked myself the same thing every night for 3 months. I see two paths. Turn the intensity down, let them feel uneasy, maybe guilty, hope guilt is enough. Or I push until something inside Mara breaks open and the truth spills out. I show Ava the live feed. Mara and Marcus are parked outside a pharmacy downtown. She's in the passenger seat, head against the window, earbuds in, trying to nap while he buys sleeping pills. They haven't slept properly since the restraining order. You could stop at whispers and cold spots, she says. Make them uncomfortable. They'd still crack eventually. Why go full horror movie? I don't answer right away. I bring up the childhood sequence I built first. Mara at 8, birthday party, pink cake, me carrying her on my shoulders. I let it play for 5 seconds, then overlay the distortion I designed. The cake bleeds red, the candles scream, my hologram. Me points at the camera and mouths you stole from the man who saved you. The sound is layered with 1,000 children crying at once. Ava actually flinches. That's evil, she whispers. It's necessary, I say. She shakes her head. I've built torture rooms for dictators in VR training sims. This feels worse because it's personal. What if she never comes back from it? What if Marcus drags her to a hospital and they lock her up and you never get your confession? I stare at the frozen image of 8-year-old Mara, happy, innocent, before everything twisted. Then I've already lost her once, I say. If I lose her mind trying to save her soul, at least the lie dies with it. Ava is quiet a long time. You're not saving her, Elias. You're punishing her. There's a difference. I don't argue. I just open the master control panel and pull up the live car feed again. Mara has dozed off, mouth slightly open, earbuds glowing soft blue. I patched into her phone last week. I can push any audio I want straight into those headphones. Ava sees where my cursor's hovering. Tell me you're not starting already. I look at her. I'm not asking permission. I'm asking if you're still in. She holds my gaze, then sighs and leans back. I'm in. But I'm telling you right now, if she breaks too hard, I'm pulling the plug myself. Fair enough. I turn back to the screen. Mara's chest rises and falls in shallow, uneasy sleep. I select the file labeled, a low, layered chorus of distant, mournful voices that sounds like grieving mothers calling a child's name. I set the volume at 20%, barely audible, just enough to crawl under the skin. Ava watches me. Gentle approach, she asks, dry. I shake my head once. My finger hovers over the slider. I drag it slowly to 70%. On the little inset window, Mara jerks awake, eyes wide, ripping the earbuds out like they burned her. She looks around the dark car, breathing hard, clutching her throat. Marcus isn't back yet. She's alone with the sound that isn't there. Ava's voice is almost a whisper. You just made your choice. I don't take my eyes off the screen. Mara is crying now, silent tears, rocking slightly, trying to understand what she heard. Yes, I say, I did. 2 nights later, the house and system are finally ready. Ava and I sit shoulder to shoulder in the control room, running the last full diagnostic. Every projector answers within 4 milliseconds. Every haptic pad pulses like a second heartbeat under the floorboards. The air smells of ozone and fresh solder. When the master panel finally flashes solid green, Ava exhales like she's been holding her breath for weeks. It's beautiful, she says, and it's terrifying. I stand, stretch the ache out of my back, and look at the main monitor. The mansion is dark except for the moonlight slicing through the tall windows. Somewhere up there, in what used to be Mara's childhood bedroom, a single projector hidden inside the chandelier is waiting to paint her 8-year-old face across the ceiling. Ava closes her laptop. Showtime tomorrow when they break the restraining order and sneak in for their important documents. You still sure you want to be on stage for the opening night? I nod. I need to feel the house breathe with me the first time. She gives me a long look, then shoulders her bag. Then I'm out. Call me when it's over or when it goes wrong, whichever comes first. I kill every light in the control room except the soft red standby glow, then climb the narrow service stairs that lead directly into the main floor. The hidden panel in the library slides open without a sound. I step through and let it seal behind me. I stop in the grand living room, the heart of the performance space. The ceiling soars 25 feet above me. I tilt my head back and speak to the darkness. Test sequence alpha, silent run. The air shimmers. For 3 perfect seconds, a hologram of 6-year-old Mara flickers into existence right where the coffee table used to be. She's wearing the yellow dress from her first ballet recital, spinning in circles, laughing without sound. Then the image fractures. Her smile stretches too wide, eyes bleed black, and the laughter loops backward into a scream that never quite reaches my ears. The haptic floor sends a cold pulse up through my shoes, like a hand closing around my ankle from below. It's flawless. I close my eyes and breathe it in. 40 years of making audiences believe the impossible, and this is the purest thing I've ever built. Because this time the audience only has 2 people, and the monster is real. I open my eyes. The child is gone. The room is silent again. I whisper, Welcome home, Mara. Then I went back downstairs to lock up for the night. The performance was tomorrow. Tonight the house needed to sleep and dream. I reached the control room, switched off the last light, and stepped through the inner door that led to my private quarters. I pulled it shut, turned the mechanical lock, and reached for the overhead switch. That's when the motion sensor light flickered on. A thin blade of white light cut across the concrete floor and caught something small and metallic that definitely wasn't there this morning. A flat silver disc no bigger than a coin, lying dead center in front of the server racks. My stomach dropped. I knew every inch of this room. I nudged it softly with my shooed toe. It slid easily and vanished beneath the lower lip of the nearest rack, into the shadow. I held the crouch, breathing slowly, staring at the spot where it had disappeared. I stand frozen in the doorway, staring at the empty spot where that silver disc disappeared under the rack. The control room feels colder now, like the house itself just inhaled and hasn't decided whether to exhale. I sweep the beam of my phone flashlight across the floor, checking for anything else out of place. Nothing. Just that one intruder. I don't sleep. I spend the night running diagnostics, triple-checking locks, wondering who got in and how. By dawn, I'm exhausted, but the system is still perfect. I push the metal piece to the back of my mind and focus on tonight's performance. Damon arrives at noon with coffee and the USB and a small evidence bag. He sets it on the desk like it's radioactive. You said to keep it safe. I figured I'd take a quick look before we wipe it, just to be thorough. I nod, distracted by the monitors. Mara and Marcus are already circling the block in their car, waiting for the courier van to leave so they can slip past the gate. Good. Tell me it's exactly what we thought. He plugs the drive into a sandbox laptop, away from the main system. The screen lights up. No folders full of forged scans, no bank records, just one file. Mara, age 2, movie. He double-clicks before I can stop him. The video starts. Grainy camcorder footage, timestamp 30 years ago. A dark room lit only by a nightlight shaped like a moon. A crib in the corner. Baby Mara, barely 2, stands gripping the rails, face crumpled in terror. She's sobbing, reaching out, calling Mama over and over in that broken toddler way. The camera shakes slightly, like whoever's holding it is trying to stay quiet. Then voices, low and angry, from just outside the door. Mara's biological mother. Make her sign it now or we lose everything. Her father. She's too young to remember. Just guide her hand. A pen scratches on paper. Baby Mara wails louder. The door cracks open, and a slice of hallway light falls across the crib. A younger version of me steps halfway in, voice soft but urgent. What did you see, Mara? Tell Daddy what you saw. The video cuts to black. Damon's face has gone pale. He rewinds, pauses on my younger self, eyes wide with something I never told him about. Dad. This isn't evidence against her. This is evidence you were there the night her parents died. You were questioning a 2-year-old in a dark room right after they forced her to sign something. I feel the floor tilt under me. I remember that night in flashes I've buried for decades. The car crash happened hours later. I took Mara that same evening because the parents were desperate, drowning in debt, trying to transfer guardianship before creditors seized everything. They made her sign a childish scribble on the papers. I walked in, saw the fear in her eyes, and asked the only thing that mattered, if she understood what was happening. She didn't. She just cried. Damon stares at the frozen frame of tiny Mara reaching toward the camera. She's been afraid of the dark her whole life, he says, voice cracking. The nightlight you bought her that she kept until she was 12. The way she still sleeps with the hallway light on. Dad, this isn't greed. This is trauma. Whatever they did that night, she blocked it out. And everything she's done now, it's all coming from this. The room spins. I see it clear for the first time. The fraud, the lies, the coldness toward me. It wasn't random cruelty. It was the same little girl screaming in the dark, protecting herself the only way she knows how. I built this entire nightmare to punish a wound I helped create. Damon closes the laptop slowly. We can't show her the distorted memories, Dad. It'll destroy her. I open my mouth to argue, to say the plan stays, but the words die. All I can see is baby Mara's terrified face. Damon slips the USB into his pocket. I'm going to hold on to this, he says quietly. We need to think. He turns toward me, face full of the same discomfort I saw days ago, only now it's deeper, protective, aimed at both of us. He wants to tell me something more, I can feel it, but he swallows it down. I'll be upstairs if you need me, he says instead. He walks out, leaving me alone with the humming servers and the echo of a child's cry from 30 years ago. They come at 11:07 p.m., exactly when I knew they would. The gate camera catches the Range Rover easing onto the service road with its lights off. I watch them park behind the hedges, slip through the side gate like thieves, which is fitting, because that's what they are. Mara's wearing black yoga pants and a hoodie pulled low. Marcus carries a small flashlight and the smug expression of a man who thinks he's outsmarted an old fool. I let them get all the way inside before I breathe on the house. First gift. The living room at Christmas when Mara was 9. The tree lights up by itself, ornaments twinkling, presents piled high. A perfect hologram of little Mara runs in wearing reindeer pajamas, laughing, hugging hologram me around the knees. Real Mara freezes in the doorway, mouth open. For 5 beautiful seconds her face is pure wonder. Then the tree bleeds red from the top down, tinsel turning into shredded bank statements. The presents open themselves and spill torn checks onto the floor. Little Mara's face distorts, eyes blackening, mouth stretching into a silent scream. A child's laughter loops backward into something demonic. Mara stumbles back into Marcus. It's him, he's doing this. Marcus tries to look brave, but I feel the haptic pads thump under their feet like a second heartbeat. Cold air rushes across their necks. They bolt for the stairs. I give them her 13th birthday next. Balloons descend from the ceiling that aren't really there. The dining room table appears set for 20 teenagers. Hologram Mara blows out candles. Everyone sings. Then the cake caves in, frosting turning into thick blood that drips upward. The birthday song warps into 100 voices whispering, "Thief, thief, thief." Mara screams and covers her ears. Marcus drags her toward the study, shouting that it's just projectors, just tricks. I reward his skepticism with the sound of my own recorded voice, everywhere and nowhere. You took what was mine. Now I take what is yours. They lock themselves in the study, panting, backs against the door. I dim the illusions, let them think it's over. 30 seconds of silence. Then the walls light up with slow-motion footage of the bank transfers, the forged signatures, the shredded will, all projected in crisp 4K while a soft chorus of children's laughter mocks them. Mara slides down the wall, sobbing. "Make it stop! Please make it stop!" Marcus is already moving, eyes sharp looking for the source. He rips a bookshelf away from the wall and finds a single black cable snaking out of sight. His face lights up with triumph. "Got you, old man." He follows it, crawling on hands and knees across the study, behind the desk, under a loose floorboard I left deliberately loose last week. The cable disappears into the original 1980s built-in entertainment unit. He pries open the dusty cabinet door and stares. Inside sits my old Nintendo, the one Mara used to play Super Mario on rainy Saturdays. The cable plugs straight into the back of it, red power light glowing like nothing has changed in 30 years. Marcus looks like a man who just found the wizard behind the curtain as a 12-year-old game. He sits back on his heels, wipes sweat from his forehead, and the grin that spreads across his face is slow, ugly, and deeply grateful. "Thank God," he mutters. "It's just some sentimental prank." He doesn't see the second cable I buried deeper, the one that actually feeds the projectors. He doesn't feel the haptic pads warming under his knees, preparing the next wave. He thinks he's won. He thinks the worst is over. I lean into the microphone, soft as a lullaby. "Enjoy the intermission, Marcus. Act 2 is going to hurt." On the main monitor, Marcus helps Mara to her feet, whispering that it's all smoke and mirrors, that I'm losing my mind, that they're safe now. Mara clings to him, nodding, desperate to believe. Marcus is still crouched by the old Nintendo, patting the wood panels like he solved the entire mystery when I dropped the hammer. Every screen in the house lights up at once. A single email fills them all, sent from Marcus's own private account to a venture capital partner he's been courting for months. Subject line: clean books for the Series A, final numbers. The body is short, brutal, perfect. Used the old man's money to plug the hole from the failed warehouse purchase in Reno. Told Mara I had pancreatic cancer so she'd push the transfer faster. 6 months tops and we flip the company, pay it back. No one ever knows. If anyone asks, I'm terminal, and she's grieving. Works every time. Signature: Marcus Thorne, with his real cell number. I timed it so the email appears to have been sent yesterday, 2:14 a.m., while they were both passed out from exhaustion in the condo. Mara is sitting on the study floor, knees to chest, when the nearest monitor wakes up. She reads it once, twice. Then her head snaps toward Marcus so fast I hear the crack through the hidden mics. You faked cancer? Her voice is small at first, then climbs into something raw and animal. You used me. You used his money. You used my father's deathbed fears to rob him. Marcus stands slowly, hands up, already lying. Baby, it's not... Don't? She scrambles to her feet, backing away until she hits the bookshelf. I forged the papers because you said we were protecting the house from his senility. I destroyed his will because you said he'd gamble everything away. And the whole time you were dying, you let me cry myself to sleep thinking I was losing my husband and my father in the same year. Marcus tries charm first. Mara, listen. She slaps him. Hard. The sound cracks through every speaker in my control room. Then the illusions I'd paused come roaring back, louder, closer. The walls bleed the email text in dripping red letters. Hologram me appears in the doorway behind Marcus, 30 feet tall, face sorrowful. My recorded voice booms, "You taught her how to steal, Marcus. Now watch her learn what betrayal feels like." Marcus spins, looking for escape routes that aren't there. Mara isn't looking at the hologram anymore. She's staring at him like she's never seen him before. "You faked cancer," she whispers again, tears streaming. "And he?" She jerks her chin toward the giant hologram of me. "He faked being an adoptive father. Who is lying about the remaining truth?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. For one heartbeat, the house is perfectly still. Then Mara laughs, high, broken, terrifying. "Who is lying about the remaining truth?" she screams, voice splintering. "Tell me, Marcus, tell me right now!" Marcus opens his mouth, nothing comes out. I lean forward in the control room, heart hammering against my ribs. This is it. This is the moment the whole machine was built for. I reach for the mic, then stop. I mute it instead, letting the silence stretch. On every monitor, Mara's face is inches from Marcus's, mascara rivers down her cheeks, eyes wild with a grief too big for the room. I watch her chest heave once, twice. I whisper to the empty room, to the cameras, to the version of her that still lives in my head. She is close to the breaking point. The house lights dim to blood red. And somewhere deep in the walls, the final sequence arms itself. Because the remaining truth will shatter the whole family, and I'm the one holding the hammer. Mara's scream still echoes when they decide to run. Marcus grabs her wrist and drags her out of the study. They sprint down the hallway, shoes slipping on the runner. I let them think they're free for exactly 6 seconds. Then, the corridor loops. The front door they burst through opens straight back into the living room. A 30-foot hologram of me stands in the center, arms wide, laughing silently, mouth stretched too wide, eyes black pits. Mara shrieks and stumbles backward into Marcus. Every door they try, kitchen, library, sunroom, even the coat closet, swings open onto the same living room. Same laughing hologram, same red glow from the chandelier that isn't really red anymore. The haptics kick in. Invisible fingers brush the backs of their necks, cold and wet. Mara claws at her throat as the pressure tightens, phantom hands squeezing just enough to make her gag. Marcus spins, swinging at air, face purple. I dial it up a notch. The grip becomes a choke, lifting them half an inch off the floor before dropping them. They fall hard, gasping. "Out!" Marcus roars, voice ragged. "We get out the back!" They bolt for the French doors that lead to the garden. I let those doors work. Moonlight floods in, cool night air, the smell of jasmine. They spill onto the terrace, sobbing with relief, barefoot on cold stone. And there is Damon. He steps from the shadows by the fountain, hands in his coat pockets, face calm and sorry. A single garden lamp lights him from behind like a halo. "Mara," he says softly, holding out one hand. "It's okay. Come here. I'll get you out." Mara took a stumbling step toward Damon, hope flaring in her eyes. Marcus hesitated, suspicious, but Mara reached out. Damon's fingers closed around her forearm, gently at first. Then his grip turned to iron. His eyes went cold, empty, and impassive. Damon's grip is gentle again, the moment the terrace door closes behind them. "Come on," he says, voice soft, almost kind. "There's a safe room in the east wing. No projectors, no speakers, just a phone. You can call whoever you want." Mara is shaking so hard her teeth chatter, but she lets him lead her. Marcus follows, rubbing his throat where the phantom hands left red marks. They stumble through the dark house like refugees. Damon guides them down a narrow corridor I never let anyone use, opens a heavy oak door, ushers them inside. The room is small, paneled in warm wood, lit by one soft lamp. A landline phone sits on an antique desk. No windows, one chair. It looks like sanctuary. Mara lunges for the phone, fingers trembling as she punches 911. Damon watches, face full of regret. The line clicks dead before it even rings. Mara tries again. Nothing. She looks up at Damon, pleading. "Damon!" He lifts a small black remote from his pocket and presses the single red button. Steel shutters slam down over the door with a clang that shakes the walls. Every light in the room dies except a hidden projector in the ceiling. My face appears, life-size, smiling the same gentle smile I wore the day I walked her down the aisle. "Hello, sweetheart," hologram me says. Mara's knees buckle. She drops the phone, backs into the corner, slides down the wall until she's sitting on the floor, arms wrapped around her head. "No, no, no, no," she whispers, turning into a low, continuous moan. Marcus spins toward Damon, fists clenched. "You little—" Damon doesn't flinch. He just looks tired. "I'm sorry," he says, and for a second, I almost believe him. Then he steps backward through the door, pulls it shut, and the lock engages with a final dead sound. The room is sealed. On the wall, my hologram keeps smiling, eyes kind, voice tender. "You're safe now, Mara, safe to tell the truth." Mara's moan turns into a scream that doesn't stop. Marcus pounds on the steel door once, twice, then gives up and leans his forehead against it, breathing hard. His reflection stares back at him from the large mirror opposite the desk, handsome face twisted with panic. Mara rocks back and forth, whispering, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop." Marcus suddenly whirls, eyes wild, and slams his open palm against the wall beside the mirror as if he's found a hidden panel. The impact is hard, desperate. The only thing that happens is the heavy mirror tilts, crashes forward, and shatters across the floor in 1,000 silver pieces. They both freeze, staring at the broken glass like it's the final proof the world has gone mad. Mara looks up at the smiling hologram of me, tears cutting clean paths through the dirt on her cheeks. And for the first time tonight, she has no more fight left. She is completely, utterly desperate. The safe room has become a tomb of splintered glass and soft red light, and Mara, alone now because Marcus has curled himself into the smallest possible shape in the corner, sits among the shards like a discarded marionette whose strings have all been cut at once. Her breathing is shallow, almost bird-like, and her eyes keep drifting to the black USB drive that somehow survived the fall of the mirror, lying there among the silver pieces, as if it has been waiting 30 years for this exact moment. She crawls to it on hands and knees, glass biting into her palms without her seeming to notice, and when her trembling fingers finally manage to push the drive into the only power outlet the room possesses, the hidden projector wakes again, bathing the wall in the grainy glow of a memory I never meant her to see again. The footage is raw, handheld, merciless. A terrified 2-year-old Mara standing in her crib, moonlight striping her tear-soaked face while adult voices hiss just beyond the door about debts and signatures and how she is too young to remember anything. Then the door opens a crack and younger me steps in, camcorder light painting everything blood red, kneeling beside the crib with a gentleness that feels obscene in hindsight, asking the question that has haunted every year since. "What did you see, Mara?" Tell Daddy what you saw." The screen freezes on her tiny, screaming face. Mara's own scream tears out of her now, 30 years late, a sound so ragged it seems to rip the air itself. She understands in one blinding, nauseating rush that every ghost I sent tonight, every bleeding birthday cake and choking hand, was never punishment for the money she stole, but a desperate, cruel attempt to force her to remember the night her real parents used her as collateral and I took her away under the pretense of rescue. All of it was designed to drag that single buried moment back into the light. She claws at her scalp, rocking, keening. He wasn't asking if I was greedy. He was asking if I remembered. He was asking if I remembered. Marcus flinches at the volume but says nothing. He has become furniture. Mara's sobs slow into something colder, something deliberate. She finds her phone among the glass, powers it completely off so I can no longer track or listen, then slips the earbuds in with steady, blood-slick fingers. The screen lights her face from below as she opens an app I have never seen. Black icon, no name, encrypted beyond anything I taught her, and presses the single contact saved there. A soft click, a breath on the line, and then Mara speaks, voice suddenly calm, almost tender, the way it used to sound when she asked me to check for monsters under the bed. "I remember everything now," she says, looking straight into the hidden camera above the door, straight through the lens into my eyes across the dark. "I remember the pen, the crib, the question you asked when you thought I was too small to understand. You didn't build this house of horrors to punish me for stealing from you, Dad. You built it to make me admit what happened before you ever saved me." Well, message received. She smiles, slow and sharp and unafraid. "Unlock the door. I'm ready to come downstairs and talk." The call ends. She pulls the earbuds out, stands amid the broken mirror, and waits, blood dripping from her palms onto the glass like slow red rain. The steel shutters of the safe room roll upward with a soft mechanical sigh, as though the house itself has decided the performance can continue on a bigger stage, and Mara steps out alone, barefoot, palms still bleeding, eyes bright red trails running down her wrists like war paint. Marcus stays behind, curled among the mirror shards, because whatever courage he once possessed has finally deserted him. She does not even glance back. She walks the long corridor with the steady stride of someone who has remembered something far worse than fear, and every hidden projector I placed along the way flickers to life, trying to greet her with bleeding birthday cakes and laughing ghosts, but she no longer flinches. The illusions look suddenly childish against the calm fury in her eyes. She descends the main staircase slowly, deliberately, letting each footfall echo through the silent mansion, until she reaches the library panel that hides the entrance to my control room. She places her bleeding hand flat against the wood, waits 3 heartbeats, and the panel slides open on its own. Because I open it, because I need to see her face when she finally speaks the truth I have chased for 30 years. She steps inside. The door seals behind her. We stand 10 feet apart in the red glow of standby lights, the wall of monitors behind me still cycling through empty rooms where Marcus remains broken on the floor. I wait for tears, for pleading, for collapse. Instead, she lifts her chin, and when she speaks, her voice is steady, almost gentle, the way it used to be when she asked for one more bedtime story. "I know what the question was now, Dad," she says, every word precise, deliberate, cutting. "All of this was never about the money I took. You wanted me to remember the crib, the pen, the night they made me sign something I was too small to understand, and the way you looked at me afterward like I might already be poisoned. You built this entire nightmare to force me to admit I carry the same lying gene they did. Congratulations, I remember. I remember everything. I remember the fear, the confusion, the way I learned before I could read that love always comes with a price." I open my mouth, but she raises one blood-smeared hand and I stop, because something in her eyes tells me the stage has changed owners. "You wanted a confession?" she continues, stepping closer, voice never rising, never shaking. "Fine. I forged the deeds. I destroyed your will. I watched you sign the transfer papers while you were sedated after surgery and told myself it was mercy, that you were losing your mind anyway. Marcus helped, yes, but the idea was mine first. Born the day I realized you would never believe I could be good without constant proof. I stole from you because I was terrified you would one day look at me the way you looked at me in that crib. She is close enough now that I can smell blood and jasmine on her skin. But here's the part you didn't plan for, she whispers. I'm not here to beg forgiveness. I'm here to tell you the performance is over, because I know exactly what comes next. My hand is already hovering over the master console, finger above the pulsing red icon that will flood the house with the memory wipe sequence I spent 2 years perfecting. One press, and they wake up tomorrow confused, ashamed, but innocent of the memory of guilt. One press and I finally heal the wound by removing the knife. I smile, the same gentle smile I wore on the hologram, and reach to activate it. That is when I notice the tiny green LED blinking on the edge of the main monitor. My stomach drops. I spin to the workstation, pull up the security diagnostics, and there it is. An unauthorized stream, high definition, broadcasting everything in this room to an off-site server. Marcus is doing. The metal disc I kicked into the shadows days ago was never random debris. It was the lens. Mara watches me realize, and her smile widens, slow and terrible. Checkmate, Dad, she says softly. I lunge for the master power switch, kill every system in the house at once, screens going black, projectors dying, the low hum of the servers winding down into sudden deafening silence. I drop to my knees, fish the silver disc from beneath the rack with shaking fingers, and hold it up to the light. The tiny silver lens stares up at me from my palm like an unblinking eye, and in that second, every illusion I have ever built collapses into the simplest truth. I am no longer the only director in the room. Mara watches me understand, and the smile she gives me is almost tender. The same smile she wore at 6 when she knew she had hidden the broken vase perfectly. You always said the best effects are the ones no one sees coming, she says quietly. So here's mine. She steps closer and begins to speak with the calm of someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to give away. I destroyed your original will the night you went into surgery, Dad, because Marcus convinced me you were losing your mind and the house would be sold for gambling debts that never existed. I forged the power of attorney while you were sedated, transferred the accounts while you recovered, and convinced myself it was protection, not theft. But the real lie started long before that, the night you carried me out of that crib after my parents used my hand to sign away their lives, the night you looked at me and asked what I saw, already afraid I might carry the same poison they did. I spent 30 years proving you right. Her voice never wavers. She recites every crime like a love letter written in acid, and I feel the weight of every year I spent building this machine to punish a wound I helped create. When she finishes, the silence is perfect. I look at the master console, at the single red icon still pulsing, waiting for my finger. One press, and the pulse floods the house. 10 seconds of tailored light and infrasound that will erase every memory of their fraud from their minds forever. They will wake up tomorrow confused, ashamed, but innocent of the recollection of guilt. They will never again know why they lost everything. Mara sees where my gaze lands and nods once, almost encouraging. Do it, she whispers. Finish your design. I press the button. The room explodes into pure white light and a sound that is not sound, a pressure that crawls inside the skull and rewrites synapses like a racing tape. Mara's eyes roll back, her body goes rigid, then limp. Somewhere upstairs, Marcus collapses in the safe room. 10 seconds, 15. The system shuts down with a soft sigh. When the lights return, they are both on the floor, breathing slow, eyes open but unfocused like children waking from anesthetic. Mara blinks up at me, confused, frightened, but the sharp edges of guilt are gone. Marcus staggers in minutes later, guided by Damon, asking why they are in this house and why everything hurts and why they feel so empty. I sign the papers the next morning. The house, the accounts, the 950 is everything returns to me, then immediately leaves again, transferred in full to an anti-fraud charity that will make sure no elder ever suffers what I suffered. Mara and Marcus move into a small apartment downtown, quietly divorced within a year, living small lives they cannot explain, haunted only by the vague sense they once did something unforgivable, but can never quite remember what. 6 months later, my new one-man play, Truth is the Ultimate Design, opens off-Broadway to standing ovations. Critics call it brave, haunting, revolutionary. I stand on stage every night and tell the story of memory and justice while the audience weeps in the dark. And on the final night, as the lights come up for the curtain call, my phone buzzes with an anonymous video link. I open it backstage. It is the entire memory wipe sequence, shot from Marcus's hidden camera. Mara's confession, my finger on the button, the blinding pulse, their bodies dropping like marionettes with cut strings. Raw, undeniable, criminal. Except when I trace the upload, the file has already been replaced across every mirror site with a 30-second commercial I shot years ago for a holographic projector that never released, smiling me on a sunny stage promising, "The future of illusion is here." The original footage is gone, overwritten by my own advertisement before it ever reached a single server that matters. No one believes Mara when she tries to tell people what really happened. They pat her hand and say she's been through a lot. That grief does strange things to memory. I take my final bow to thunderous applause, and for the first time in 30 years, the wound inside me is quiet. Justice, it turns out, is simply the memory you leave behind when the truth becomes whatever you decide the world should see. And the world sees exactly what I designed. Come here, closer, just you and me for a second. The lights are off now, the house is quiet, and the story is over. But I'm still here, sitting in the dark with you, the way we've been for the last 15 nights. I need to know, did it hurt you the way it hurt me? Did you feel that twist in your chest when the truth finally came out? Tell me where you're watching from tonight, your city, your country, maybe even the corner of the room you're hiding in so no one sees you crying. I read every single comment with my morning coffee, and when you write, "I'm from Sao Paulo," or "I'm a grandmother in Manila," or "I'm alone in Toronto," I feel less alone too. If this story touched something inside you, please leave me a heart, a word, anything. And if you can, send a super thanks, even the tiniest amount. It's what keeps the lights on in this old house and lets me keep telling these stories for you, only for you. On screen right now, you'll see 2 new real-life stories I chose, especially for hearts like yours. Click 1. Stay with me a little longer. There are hundreds more waiting on the channel, and every time the bell rings, I know another one of you has found a safe place to feel everything you're not allowed to feel in daylight. Thank you for trusting me with your night. Thank you for every tear, every "I've been through that too," every $4.99 or $100 that says keep going. I'm already writing the next one, and I'll be waiting for you there. With all my love and respect, Elias.